Ever since I put a Hasselback potato on the plate as a garnish in one of my videos, I've received requests for this recipe. Most people make Hasselback potatoes with crude, large cuts and only put salt and butter on them, so the idea of making a video showing how to prepare a high-end restaurant version of this was a welcome suggestion. Aside from the seasoning, which you won't find in any other online recipe, I'm showing you how to cut these without those silly chopsticks as a knife guide that you see in amateur recipes.
Well, the first step to success here is selecting potatoes that are symmetrical. You want a potato that's more like this and less like this. You got thin on one end, fat on the other. It's not going to cook evenly, plus the end here is going to want to fall away as you cut it. This is a reasonable potato for it. It's a little bit on the small side, but at least it's symmetrical. Then there's a lot of people that tell you to put chopsticks or something else down there to keep you from cutting all the way through. Okay, you know, I guess if you're completely inept and you have no other way of doing it, then you can. But you could just hold the knife at an angle like this, and the board will stop the knife. That's all you have to do, right? I'm doing it here very slowly to show you. See, as long as I don't put the knife all the way down, it's not going to go all the way through. We don't need chopsticks or pencils or any of that crap. So you just hold it, and don't use my knife technique. I've had many years of experience with this. I can do this. You shouldn't. Don't go too close to the end.
You want to see nice even cuts that's kind of like a deck of cards.
In a stick blender cup, I have a half an ounce of good quality olive oil. To this, I'm adding 1 ounce, 30 milliliters of melted butter, and some coarsely chopped garlic. The amount of garlic you add is up to you. How garlicky do you want these? A little bit is always good. Put at least 1 clove no matter what. But you know, if you want them really garlicky, add more. And then this gets hit with a stick blender, of course. And then pass it through a strainer. You want to get rid of any solid bits of garlic out of there, because those are just going to stick to the potato and burn. That's okay. Don't worry about this. It's a little bit of waste. You can throw it into something else if you're cooking something else. This is what we want. We want the garlic butter just like this. And then just get the potato down in there. You know, open it up carefully with your fingers. And make sure that there's butter in between all of those layers. Each and every layer needs to have some butter in between it. Now, the butter that you didn't use, you're going to add that Beaumont seasoning to it, if you're going to use it, and stir it around. And when the first part of the cooking time is up, you're going to brush more of it on. Only the next time it'll have the seasoning in it. You don't want to put it in at the beginning because the seasoning will burn. It's too long in the oven. Now, after 45 minutes in the oven, now you're going to brush on the butter that's got the Beaumont seasoning in it, if you're using that. And you want to get it down in there quite well. And then I'm going to lay a few branches of thyme over the top and put it back in the oven. Okay, 20 more minutes has gone by in the oven at the higher temperature. What I'm going to do is drain this out. Separate these back out again here. Now we've got the mixture again with the butter and the Beaumont. This is going to get drizzled across the top. Make sure to keep these moist. Now it goes back in the oven again. Here we are, 20 more minutes later, I'm doing the same thing again. I'm pouring this back into the same bowl. We're almost done here. The time isn't even going to do anything at this point, so don't worry about it. There's the butter back over the top, and we'll give it, it's like five more minutes. It's almost done. Then you put it on a plate, fan it out a little bit, put some fresh thyme over the top, and drizzle some of the pan juices, butter over the top of this.
I'm very pleased to announce the release of Volume 3, The Focus on Food Chemistry. I want to clear up a few things about these 3 volumes. First, they all contain completely different information. There's no duplication, they're not revisions. When I wrote Volume 1, I had 2.5 years of YouTube videos to cover. People had been asking me for the printed list of ingredients for all of those dishes, and so I obliged. There are recipes with stepwise directions and many tips offered throughout, as well as an extensive history of Russian cuisine over the last 1,000 years, but Volume 1 is very different from Volume 2 and 3. In Volumes 2 and 3, I only had about 9 months of YouTube recipes to cover in each, so I was able to provide stepwise directions for everything. In Volume 2, I included a lot of additional information about cooking and some simple examples of flavor chemistry to set the stage for Volume 3. While Volume 2 hopefully got you thinking about some of the processes that go on in cooking and how flavors are expressed and sensed at the molecular level, the topic was painted with pretty broad strokes to make it easy to digest, pun intended. Volume 3 is a milestone of the series, in which I've included an entire introductory course in food chemistry, which is why Volume 3 is about 70 pages longer than Volume 2. And if you just want the recipes, that's okay too. You don't have to read the first few chapters, but if you've ever been curious about what influences tastes and flavors and the rationale for deciding cooking times and temperatures and why things taste different when they're combined in different ways, this book will answer many of those questions. It also paves the way for Volume 4, which will be next year. I'm pleased to announce a new, completely different type of cookbook. If you watch my channel regularly, you know that the recipes I present are usually centered on meat or seafood and seldom vegetarian dishes. This new book is a departure from that norm. Only vegetables, fruits, eggs, and dairy are used in dozens of recipes here. The key here is that these recipes don't taste like typical vegetarian food. This isn't a bunch of salads and bean sprouts wrapped in pita bread. These are completely satisfying, hearty dishes that use the science of food chemistry to produce meat-like aromas and flavors. But don't worry, there's no weird chemicals involved, just ordinary foods and spices that you can get in any grocery store. This really is an entirely new approach. These are flavorful, filling meals produced by a distinctive cooking method and unexpected combinations of ingredients. Once you see how it's done and understand the method, you can apply these preparations to some of your own recipes and transform them into vegetarian dishes too. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online. If you want to know more about my adventures as a chef around the world and have some great laughs along the way, be sure to check out the video tour of my book, 40 Years in One Night. It's up on YouTube right now. Click the link.